Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? First full weekend for the month of August. Pretty crazy how we're just blowing right through the summertime, and oh boy, yeah, the coin market continues to just forge on with strong sales and lots of demand, and we're seeing it up and down the scale, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeing it in low end errors and varieties, and just kind of fringy dates that people are looking for, the $5 to maybe $50 range of coin, is just performing amazingly this whole entire summer. And no doubt about it, even today, when I talk about the pocket change listings for this week, or actually for the last 2 days, okay, because it is from the last 24 to 48 hours. But from a general, just overview, kind of like that 20,000 foot level, the bird's eye view of the whole coin market, it's just been great, and we're not seeing like tremendous like dips that we were seeing in other different aspects of collectibles, from sports cards to trading card games and, a few others, which have certainly taken a huge dip here about 3 or 4 months ago. But coins, ladies and gentlemen, again, are just fantastic. If you need the money and you got some of these coins, and we are coming up to the holidays, you can sell these for sure. But yeah, we have a kind of abbreviated list. I'll be gone for the weekend, but I'll be back Sunday night for the Monday market report. Yes, you heard that right. It's back. Due to popular demand, the people have spoken, and it's back. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I figured we just go ahead and drop right in. Before we do, though, for those of you that are brand new to this Pocket Change Market Report, it's real simple. These are all error and variety finds, along with a few other different types of finds that are generally found through, searching through change. Coin roll hunting is another big activity for beginning coin collectors, in order to find some inexpensive errors and varieties, as opposed to just paying full market for them. In addition, if you're a coin show or shop goer or attendee, usually people like to cherry pick some of these coins. They'll pay whatever the going rate is for the coin, without the attributed error or variety on there, and then you can either add it to your collection or sell it. A lot of people do both, so there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first coin. Now, this first listing right here is Washington quarter. It's struck off center, and this particular one, the seller was a little bit unsure of what the date is. He or she said it could be like a 1980s coin, but it looks like it could be like a 1965. This does look like a 6 right here. There's just enough there to possibly say that is a 60s Washington quarter. This one right here is off center by about 20%. And very rarely do you find any of the earlier dates like this off center struck like so. It's a decent shape. It remains to be seen if this is damage here or just part of the process of the off center strike. Kind of hard to tell if it's been cleaned. We have buildup of gunk and grease here around the devices, which might indicate a possible previous cleaning. But this one right here is sold for $28.50. So the next one that we have here is going to, you might want to look for these. That's all I got to say. It might stump you a little bit too, but this coin right here has a nickname all on its own. All right, this is referred to as the die chipped one, or the R958 type of this coin. Yeah, it's really debatable on whether or not this is an actual error that people can lean on. But as you can see, this one has a well placed die chip here on the top of the one that creates a small case letter R, and sellers are hanging their hat on that. Not on the R on the coin, but on that particular idea that this is some unusual, again, very one-off type of I don't know. How else would you describe something like this? It's a very, very, I don't know. It's the flavor of the month, I guess. Although people have sold these here in the past, the same coin, and believe it or not, they sell really well. For example, this particular example right here, the seller was asking with shipping $39.15, and the best offer was accepted of $30.15. Sorry, $30.15. So yeah, about $9 off, and it's $26 plus shipping is what it ended up being. And I found that information actually on eBay Seller Tools. It's under the research tab, and you go to TerraPeak is the name of it. But it's free for sellers that sell on eBay, and you can look at these best offer bids on the coins. But this is interesting, and that's a lot of money. $26 for this anomaly right here is quite a bit of money. But I would have to say that a lot of the previous examples I've seen have sold somewhere around like $25 to $35. So no big surprise. It is what it is. The next one that we have here, I will caution, it did sell for a lot more money than I thought it would, but this is a genuine mint error. What we have here is a coin that was struck through a tremendous amount of what I would say was grease on the die. You see a lot of the letters in the motto completely missing. You have the L in Liberty missing as well. And then the date is partially obscured. You do know it's in 1991. There is at least that much of the date present to make the call that it is that date. Coin is in decent shape. I'm not going to say it's something that's going to be a high-end, type piece. Here's what's strange. It sold for $79.45. My personal experience with struck through grease coins is they typically command a value of anywhere from a few dollars to as high as maybe $20-$30 on most Lincoln cents. There's going to be the off chance that the grease strike through is so strong that the date is gone, lots of the letters. You're gonna have some of the main device, like in this case the bust of Lincoln, completely annihilated. But that's in the most extreme cases is where you'll see that. So I don't know, you guys make the call. I personally don't think it's worth $79, but that's how much this one sold for. So we do have a fair amount of errors on paper money. All right, we're going to start off with this one here. It's a 1995 $1 bill. And as you can see, the third printing, which encompasses the serial numbers, the seals, and then these quad numerals here on the corners, are all way off center. As a matter of fact, on the serial numbers, you have quite a bit of overlapping on the first print design. And that's what collectors of this type of error want to see. This particular dollar bill sold through 7 bids in an amount of $79.69. And that is actually a fair amount of money for this type of error. There's the back of the note. You can see it's also slightly misaligned as well. We have another piece of currency, this time a $20 bill. And this one right here has a very egregious, I guess, first printing and possibly second print misalignment, because the serial number and all that for the third print looks to be okay. I think this is more of a case of the entire sheet being off and not just one side of the note being misaligned or misprinted. Again, you can see the next note on the subject sheet is cut off right here on the back. It's pretty well centered. So let's call it. This is a misaligned first print, is what this one is. This particular one sold through 10 bids in the amount of $106.19. And by the way, some of those pieces of currency with the misaligned printings can be found on newer notes as well. We've seen them on 2019 dollar bills. We've seen it on 2013 series. The next one that we have here is a quite nice 1995 Philadelphia struck, off-center struck rather, Washington quarter. This one is off-center by about 10-15%. a little bit more attractive of an example than the first coin that we saw on the list today. Although this one has some sort of like oxidized toning that gives it that gunmetal look. This one, through 19 bids, sold for $22, which I think is a fair amount of money for this coin, which obviously has seen some circulation. All right, more currency, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to love this. We have another misaligned printing, this time the third print. All right, so that's serial number. As you can see there, it's way off center to the right. So that's a tremendous amount of misalignment for a printing. This one right here is in really nice shape too. I would have to say it's probably AU kind of territory. I would say AU 58 would be acceptable. I don't know if there's any sort of kind of like wrinkling or anything. I see these two things here. Not sure what that is. But aside from that, it's a pretty decent looking note. It's pretty straight. Got minimal amount of wave for something that's pretty close to being crisp unk. And this one sold for, well, $185. 185 schmackaroons. That's quite a bit. All right, so this is a 2000 Lincoln cent. And as you guys know, I've brought this up before. 2000, as a matter of fact, 98, 99, 2000, 2001 are all relatively common dates for off-center struck errors. However, this one is off-center by approximately 70 to 75%. That's quite a bit. But the little bit of the coin that was struck actually has the date on it. All right, so we do know it's a 2000 Lincoln cent that was struck in Philadelphia because it doesn't have a mint mark. This one sold for $24. All right, which is not bad considering the amount of detail that's on there. It's in really nice shape, but it is one of the more common dates for this sort of thing. All right, so this Roosevelt dime right here is struck off center. The only thing that I'm kind of puzzled is that the seller was pitching this as a 1999, and I feel like there's not enough of the date right here to make that determination. So this one, I don't know. I would question the date on this one only because that is the area of which the date is, and it's completely cut off. This one is off center by about 30%, which is pretty nice. And this one sold for $23.85, which seems like an okay amount of money for this, in spite of the fact that no date is visible. Collectors like to purchase these with a full date because they collect them by the date. You know, they want one of everything, and that's a pretty challenging set to do, especially for some of these denominations where you don't see off-center struck coins that often, like Roosevelt dimes, Kennedy half dollars, things like that. Now, there's nothing weird about this coin other than the fact that it is a really decent looking key. It's a 1926S. This looks like one of those coins that you would find in just bulk Buffalo nickels, all right, for like $1 a piece. But 26S is definitely one that you need to keep an eye out on. Now, there's a few condition areas that concern me a little bit. So, you know, usually when you look at coins like this, you have to make concessions that there's a problem with it. And that's the real reason why it's not in a graded holder, because the 26S under normal circumstances is very well deserving of like an Annex slab or NGC slab. This one right here is in decent shape. It's got nearly a full horn. I would say this one is probably VF20, VF25-ish, somewhere around there. But there is quite a bit of like corrosion or porosity on the coin, which might indicate this being a previously dug coin, or maybe it was maybe an acid at one point. Collectors in the earliest of days used to like dipping these in acid to really bring up the devices. As a matter of fact, today there is a product called Nicodate that collectors and coin collectors use actually to bring up the date when it's completely worn. All right, that helps them figure out like varieties and, you know, is this a key date, say that sort of thing. But it does drop the values of them quite a bit. This one right here, for being a key date with, I would say, you know, issues that are make and break to a lot of people, did sell for $66.75. So that's a good deal of money for this one. Our featured note of the week is going to be this $1 bill. Now, don't let the date fool you. It's 1977, but you can find these on any date, even the newest dollar bills. All right, just being able to have access to these Bureau of Engraving and Printing bricks, which are, let's say, dollar bills, for example, will have 1,000 notes or 10 straps in there. And usually you would ask for these at the bank before they're split open and counted. They will have their original strap paper on each one of them. But this one right here features a very low serial number. So anything with 5 leading zeros and a 3-digit serial or less, so I would say 999, these are all very collectible. And the higher the grade, the more that people will pay. This particular example right here, with a serial number 49, through 3 bids, sold for $116.49. We have a few of these Lincolns on here as well, and this 1984 is not the prettiest of the bunch, but it does have a couple of really nice, well-placed cuds or die breaks, and it's real simple. Dies will wear down after so many strikes, and little bits and pieces will fall off of them. They'll either turn into a die chip if they're in the internal devices, or they will turn into cuds if they involve the rim area. So this one right here partially obscures the word trust in the motto. And again, these are fantastically collectible. And again, just like off-center struck coins, people want to be able to collect these by the cud type and size and progression. This particular one, through 7 bids, sold for $37, which I think is quite a bit of money considering its grade. This is probably like an XF coin, nothing fantastic, but you don't see the double cud type for this date that often, so that makes it kind of a rarity. Here's another cud right here. Again, one in which has eluded many people's fingertips. People get them in change and they spend them. This one right here is in a spot where it's easy to miss, and that's on the truncation of the bust area, right here between the rim and the bust design edge. Let's see, this one, 4 bids, sold for $15.29. So that seems to be, I don't know, a little bit on the low side, but this is a common date for cuts. Another piece of currency, this time a 1993 $1 Federal Reserve note. Nothing really to note here on the front of the note, other than the fact that it's a really nice high-grade example. The serial number is nothing to really write home to mother about. But on the reverse, we have a partial wet ink transfer. This is a front to back, and boy, that is a really slim, small partial right there. But again, look out for these. This is a legit error. When these notes are printed, okay, and they are printed in pretty rapid succession, the sheets are being stacked on top of each other, and sometimes the ink isn't completely dry, so you'll have some of that transfer from one sheet to another, and that is the end result that you see here. Usually with a wet ink transfer error, the design that gets transferred onto the subsequent note will be in reverse. It'll be mirrored. And by the way, that wet ink transfer sold for $35.49, and that's through 17 bids. Now here's one that I can't believe is not a graded slab. Of course, I've seen it all pretty much, but we have a 1972 Washington quarter that is struck on a nickel planchet. All right, so the coin is a little bit smaller. You can see that the date and the rim here is completely gone, and partial liberty as well. You can just tell the coin is a lot smaller than what it should be. This one example, through 15 bids, sold for $161.45. Again, these are findable. They're probably more on the scarce side of discovery, especially if you're going through rolls. But I've come across was a nickel that was struck on a cent planchet a number of years back. I still have it, as a matter of fact, and it's not the greatest of shapes, but it's a really good error to find, and they are all quite valuable. So pretty good sale here. From the same seller, we have a few of these Washington quarters that are struck off center by a little bit. This one is a 1989P. It's 15% off center, and this one through 7 bids sold for $27.45. And it looks like this one also circulated quite a bit too. It's not a mid-state example. And the same goes for this one. A little bit earlier date. It's the 1984P. Philadelphia coins in general will be the minting house that you'll find a lot of these type of errors. This one is off center by about 10-15%. Again, it's got some condition issues. It's got some grease and buildup on the back. Even on the off center part right here, it's built up a little. This particular example, through 3 bids, sold for $17.45. Okay, so this is a double struck Lincoln cent, a very, very attractive and very miraculous example, because on the double strike, the second strike, by the way, is about 70% off center. It's a 1998, and then the double struck portion also has a date as well. So you got 2 dates on this particular coin, which makes it just incredibly desirable. Double struck coins, sometimes I've seen where the second strike is slightly off center, just not that spectacular, but I'm going to say this one looks pretty good. This one sold for $139, so that's a pretty nice score right there. Again, from Simply Coins, we have another Jefferson nickel, this time a 43S, so we got some Wartime silver getting some love here. This one has a pretty nice strike through on the obverse, where you'll see it here by Liberty, and this one is sold by Simply Coins. All right, so pretty nice photography, and those steps look pretty good. Probably more 5 steps than it is 6. This one example sold for $49.95. So we're highlighting these every week now, I guess, but we have another high-low leaf variety on the Wisconsin quarter. They only show up on Denver minted 2004s. However, this one is the much more valuable high leaf. You can see this extra line right here that is not supposed to be there, but this one has it. This one sold for $89.25. So, yeah, for those of you looking through quarters, again, this is a coin that is continuously being searched, and they're being found, and they're being sold. We see them sold every week, and they're still commanding incredibly strong amounts of money. What we have here is a Salt River Bay ATB quarter. This is a 2020p. And this was actually a coin that we also highlighted on the live coin Q&A show here this past week. A viewer had actually submitted photos of this particular coin. And it is the doubled die obverse number 1. You can see it right here. This is a simply incredible doubled die, especially one for the single squeeze, minting era. You just don't see them quite this nice. But compare this to a regular Salt River Bay quarter that's not doubled, you'll see the difference. The letters will be a lot skinnier, and they won't have that stretched out appearance. This one sold for $15, which is fair for this one, and it's also circulated. All right, so this is a cute little cud. This time on a 1985p Washington quarter. You can see it right here above the Y. Almost a rim cut, but it comes into the design a little bit and touches the Y, which makes it a full-blown cud. But yeah, I would imagine that a lot of people have missed stuff like this. I think I'm probably guilty of that way back in my earlier numismatic days. But these are very desirable, even in the smallest of forms. This one sold for $20.50, and that's with 5 bids total. There's a little close-up of that cud right there, and where it's touching the Y, and it's actually impeding into the actual letter there. That's pretty neat. 2003 Lincoln Memorial, and boy, this is like the cleanest off-center coin that I've seen in quite some time. This one is off-center by just a really, really slim margin, probably less than 10%, maybe 8%. But there you go. Yeah, just a really, really problem-free example. You don't see a lot of distracting stuff on this coin. And I think the photography was really good on this, and that sometimes can make all the difference in the world. This coin through 12 bids sold for a real easy $10 bill. 10 bucks. There you go. Here's another Washington quarter, I believe from the same seller as the previous one that we saw 2 slides ago. But we have another reverse cud right here. There's actually one of his arrows pointing right at it, this time right here, obscuring into the word states. And you really don't see a whole lot of good stuff here. You do see a little weakness here on the 1, which is where normally you want to see weakness on the obverse, opposite the corresponding cud. This one right here, through 3 bids, sold for $15.50, which is a pretty good amount of money. Again, these are being overlooked a lot. Yeah, they're kind of minor, but they are cuds, and all cuds are quite valuable. $15 for this one just shows the amount of selling power you have for a cud die break. There's a little bit of a close-up. You can see it eats into the letter T in states quite a bit. How about a 2019 Lincoln Shield cent? This one, of course, has a pretty gnarly looking strike through. Probably a hardened piece of grease with some debris and metal shavings mixed in there. Not the greatest of photos. It's, there was directional lighting that obviously put a big old kind of shiny highlight right here on the face of the coin. It looks a lot darker than it actually is, and it makes it pretty out of focus too when you have that kind of concentration of light. But a really cool error. You know exactly what it is, and this one sold for $8.43. The coin is circulated. Let's not kid ourselves. So that's a good reason why this one sold for that amount of money. I hope you guys could see this one. This is actually on one of the brand new Washington crossing the Delaware 2021 quarters. But someone has discovered a die chip version that is right above George Washington's hat, which kind of makes it look like a king's crown or a chef's hat because it's like really tall. Aside from that, this one actually digs right into E pluribus unum by a good deal. I mean, this is a pretty major die chip, for it not being a full-blown cud that involves a rim. I just can't believe stuff like this is just now being found. The coin has been out for about 3-4 months now. So it's giving, roll hunters ample enough time to look for stuff like this. The seller threw it up on there, and he had 3 of them. But you're never going to believe how much they sold for. He had sold 2 out of 3 through a Dutch auction. He has 1 left out there for $55 a piece. So, yeah, I would say the hunt is on for this coin right here. This is really hard to miss, though. That is a naked eye visible error. That die chip is just huge. I'm going to have to share this one with my live coin Q&A group. They're going to get a kick from something like this. All right, Jefferson Nickel, another beauty, 1988p. Yep, 1988. It looked like an 83 for a second, but this one is off center by about 65%, give or take. The coin appears to me in really nice shape, although we do have some white balance problems with the photography, which makes it look a lot washed out than it actually is. This one sold for $34.49, which is a pretty good amount of money with a full date. So, yeah, they'll take it. And the last coin for the video is going to be a 1989 Lincoln Memorial, okay? Do you guys see it? I do. We have another pretty sizable die cut break thing right here that actually goes into Lincoln's bust by a good deal. That's actually a pretty sizable one right there. But this cut die break is a good one. The bigger the cuds, the more that they're worth. This one, for 4 bids total, sold for $50.45. So a $50 bill was realized for this really circulated Lincoln Memorial coin. Beautiful. Really nice. I like that. But hopefully this video was able to give you some inspiration heading into the weekend, whatever you guys do. If you're going to hunt through some coins, make sure you're looking out for these. They are worth more than any piece of silver that you will find. And I know that's like all the rage today, the 40%, 90% silver, and all that stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of coins on this list that can be found and changed. That'll easily sell for a lot more than what silver is going for right now for scrap. So hopefully you guys find something nice, and then you'll share it on this video. So I'm doing this on Friday. I'll be gone for the rest of the weekend, but my normal cycle for the PCMR is going to be one drop on Wednesday, because since I covered like the last 24 to 48 hours, this will give me time to explore what the market is like midweek. Is it any different? People still paying strong money for some of these errors and varieties? We'll find out. And it's all going to start here this coming week. So we're going to do a midweek PCMR, and we are going to do our regularly scheduled Saturday morning PCMR. So that'll be coming up here again next week. I want to thank you guys for joining in. Hopefully you got a little bit of educational takeaway from this video. Again, I am not a financial channel. Do not take me that seriously, because I live in the in-laws' quarters alone, and I eat top ramen all day. So yeah, keep that in mind. But anyways, have fun, and take good pictures if you're going to sell some of these on eBay. That's going to be the key to your success. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. But if you don't like it at all, yeah, go ahead and throw a thumbs down in there. All right, any sort of engagement, a quick comment. Tell me a little bit about your favorite coin on this week's list, or maybe you want to share something you'd found. Would love to hear it as well. But yeah, your engagement is important to every single video I have. So that's going to go ahead and do it. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. I'm your host, Sean, and I will see you next time. You guys take care. Have a great weekend, and happy hunting.